Welcome back. Happy to feature the Norfolk County RSVP program here and currently in Quincy for many years now under the former director, Bob Pearson. There's a new director, and joining her is the chair of the county commissioners, which helps to fund the RSVP program. So please welcome Lucille Cassis and Joe Shea. Hey!
Hi, Joe.
Hey, how you doing, Joe?
Good, familiar faces, both of you.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Perhaps, yeah. Lucille, congratulations on your new role as director. Joe, always a pleasure to catch up with you. So thanks for coming over. We'd probably start with you, Joe, because you are our resident historian when it comes to all things Quincy and county.
Well, it is, the county is actually much old. The county was 1793.
Yeah, it goes back a few years.
As a county, yeah. And it's still functioning.
Yes.
And it's amazing because when I went to the county in 2016, there's always talk that they're going to do away with the counties. And in fact, the state did away with most of the counties in the 90s. But what did they do? They kept 4 counties in the southeastern part of the state.
How about that?
Norfolk, Plymouth, Barnstable, and Bristol. And
here we are.
we're still here. We're still functioning.
Yeah.
We had a huge change in the last years with the opera funds that were just completing the distribution of it. We banded together as four counties, got the same law firms, the same accounting firms, and worked with Uncle Sam, and it was a booming success. And I don't think you're going to see a program like that again in the near future, but it was a lifeline.
Yeah.
And a help to all the cities and towns. And I'm not here to report on opera, but that could be another whole thing.
Yeah, we should do that in the future, actually.
80% of the opera funds went to infrastructure, water, sewer.
As they were intended, right?
It's what it was intended,
Right.
and then other good uses too.
Sure.
And we really kind of got on the map, so to speak, after 400 years.
Yeah, exactly.
But we have a program here that we've had it for about 20 years. I'm told that we inherited from QCAP.
RSVP was QCAP originally?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And the whole program idea comes out of the older American Act of 1965.
Okay.
Started in New York City, so it isn't that old.
Yeah.
But we have been successfully managing it. You mentioned Robert. Robert just retired.
Yes, yeah. 10 years at the helm there, I think.
And yeah, Robert was there, a little over 10, same as me. And we bid Robert adieu, and Chris is still with us.
Chris Goldsmith, yep.
Yeah, and we were able to hire Lucille.
Yes.
And no stranger.
At all,
Right.
no.
I mean, her background is well known, and she keeps the connections to her work at the Lions Club, but I go way back with Lucille because she worked in the Sheriff's Department.
Oh, I didn't know
with
that.
my wife.
Oh, I didn't know that, Joe.
I guess in the 90s. Could have been the 80s, but I won't.
Okay.
I won't.
Yeah, let's not go there, Joe.
You and I
So we
met
have
a connection.
we have a connection. We
Yeah.
have a proved product here,
Yeah.
When our director, John Cronin, said, I've got 4 or 5 resumes I'm going to interview
Yeah.
to succeed Robert. And, a couple were from Quincy, and Lucille's from Braintree, one thing or another. And he said, I looked at one, and maybe you know her. And so I looked at it. I said, of course I know her. And,
Sure. And here we are.
Family friend, etc.
Yeah. Well, Lucille, you and
My
I
brother.
became acquainted when you worked at Father Bill's.
That's correct.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
A while back.
How long ago was that?
So I was there from 2008 to 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, about
And-
10 years.
Yeah. So, and prior to that?
I was with Beth Israel Deaconess Plymouth, which it used to be Jordan Hospital.
Yeah, sure.
I was their director of marketing for another decade
Okay.
or so. So I'm dating myself, but all jobs I think that are community-based,
Right.
nonprofit.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my heart is.
Yeah, what was it about it that the RSVP program that attracted you?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it online. I wasn't, really looking.
Yeah.
I was doing some consulting at that point.
Okay.
And what attracted me was when I was at Father Bill's, I managed almost about 350 volunteers who worked in the kitchens and, distributing donations that we would get in to folks that were moving into new housing
Sure.
and whatnot. And I just really enjoyed that part of the job. I did a lot of the fundraising, of course, and marketing, but that was a favorite. I loved meeting with the kitchen volunteers and talking to them about why they do what they do.
Yeah.
And when I saw this, I thought it was really a combination of everything that I had experienced, and I could focus on the volunteerism and do that across the county in all these various nonprofits that I knew about, and I could place them because I knew how it operated and who would be a good fit.
Yep.
So I felt like it was made for me, to be honest.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Once again. I guess for folks who don't know, we should give them just a little overview of what RSVP is, right?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
You want to take that one, Joe? Or
No, you
No?
can.
Oh, okay. He wants me to
I know
do
what it is, though.
Okay. So RSVP is an acronym that stands for
Right.
Retired Senior Volunteer Program. It's not just, on your invitation. So it's another use of the
Yeah.
acronym. But basically, we have on our roster about 200 volunteers, and everyone in our program is 55 and older.
Yes.
So it was really designed to keep people active and engaged in the community as they age themselves.
Yep.
And there's so many great roles that we've developed, that Robert really developed over the last decade and prior, all these relationships that he built. So, folks are doing food pantry work, they're doing rides for vets, which I'll talk about in a moment.
Signature
It's our
program,
kind of
right?
our signature
Yeah.
program. We're working at the VAs as ambassadors.
Sure.
We're also doing financial literacy for seniors who, may have trouble paying their bills as they get older, which is a wonderful opportunity for folks to help out seniors in the community. And the whole idea was, from the AmeriCorps side, from the federal program, was to keep seniors in their homes as long as possible and
Yes.
keep them independent
Yep.
as long as possible. So really, it's seniors helping seniors.
Right.
Yeah.
Seeing as we're talking about some of the volunteers, we have some pictures
Oh, great.
of some
Good.
of the volunteers that we've never kind of highlighted them before when we talk
Yeah.
about RSVP. So it's kind of a nice thing to do, to showcase.
Oh, I'd
them.
love
So,
that.
Yeah. So let's show
Oh,
some folks
see,
here.
there's that's the VA. So this woman on the right-hand side, her name is Rosemary, and next to her is Chuck. And in the middle is our commissioner, one of our
Commissioner
commissioners,
Stady.
Commissioner
Yes.
Richard Stady from
Yes.
Canton. And this is Peter Tribuna. He's the volunteer coordinator at the VA in Roxbury. And we
Roxbury.
took a picture.
West Roxbury. you mean.
West Roxbury,
Yeah.
sorry. And we took a picture recently with Rosemary's 90 years old.
Wow.
And she's so spry.
for
And
her.
we did a feature on her for our newsletter.
Okay.
But the Afghans are also made by seniors, which
are
is
they?
kind of fun. So
Nice,
they're from
yeah.
the Franklin, Norfolk, Walpole, and Sharon area. So they're volunteers themselves at the councils on aging. They make the Afghans for the veterans.
Ah,
And,
nice. Okay.
you would think, okay, what's the big deal? But if you talk to Peter Tribuna, he'll tell you that the patients absolutely
Love them,
these
yeah.
blankets, because a lot of times when you're at the VA, you're a disabled veteran.
Yep.
You're in there for a long time. Sometimes you have surgery, or you're recovering for a long time and convalescing, and they actually have a place where the families stay, the Fisher House. They stay
I
with
see.
their veteran on campus so they can visit.
Okay.
And they absolutely love these Afghans, and you can see they're in patriotic
Beautiful.
colors
Yeah, yeah.
and whatnot.
Let's bring up the next one and see
Yeah.
what we
They're awesome.
have for you.
So these are the actual knitters.
The knitters, okay, yeah.
They're-
Club here.
There they are.
Very nice, yeah.
And of course, they do all kinds of other things at the Council on Aging as well.
Sure.
But these are RSVP volunteers
Nice.
that get together religiously and make these Afghans.
Nice. A couple more
Yep.
to show folks.
Oh, this is Helen Early. She also is an Afghaner. That's a hat. That thing is actually a
gonna ask
hat
what
that
that
she's
was.
making.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But she's a longtime knitter, and her husband was a veteran, and really feels strongly about supporting veterans.
Absolutely,
So-
yeah. I think we have one or two more to
Yep.
show.
Oh, this is Walter. He's also 90 plus. He'd be embarrassed that I put his picture up here.
Oh, in that case, we should definitely do it. Yeah.
Walter's so shy, but he's been with the VA for, gosh, maybe 20 years now.
Good for you, Walter. Thank you.
Yeah, and he greets the visitors, and that's what the ambassadors do.
It's important. It's
and
important
he's
work.
an RSVP volunteer. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He makes them feel very welcomed
Yeah.
and safe,
Yep. Yep.
coming to the VA.
Sure.
This gentleman, he was before my time, so unfortunately I can't recall his name,
Okay.
but he's a driver. So we have our Rides for Vets program, and he's a vet himself. Obviously, he's a Marine.
Yep.
He was a longtime driver, and I think he's retired now himself, but we really need drivers for the Rides for Vets program. We had a
Yes.
very busy month this month, and we pride ourselves in being able to fulfill every ride. So we match a volunteer with the rider, and we also often take their families to appointments because if you're a veteran spouse, you
Yeah.
get to go to the VA as well.
Seeing as we're talking about it, Lucille,
Yeah.
the Rise for Vets program, who can be a volunteer in that program, and how does that happen?
So again, you have to be a licensed driver. We
Okay.
do a Corey check to make sure there's nothing awry.
Sure.
You have to have a clean driving record. You have to be 55.
Okay.
And you have to have your own vehicle.
Okay. Okay.
However, we give mileage reimbursement for drivers who are taking folks to their appointments. And a
Right.
lot of times people, they can make their own schedule. They don't have to do, a ride every week. They
Okay.
can just pick up rides. We have an online system that they sign up for.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's great. They'll pick a ride if they can do it, and they take the veteran either mostly to the 3 VAs, Brockton, Jamaica Plain, and West Roxbury, but they do take them to private appointments as
Okay.
well.
They can reach out to you. We've been putting up your phone number and your
Yes.
website as well, so folks can reach out to you that way.
Yes.
Before we run out of time, I
Sure.
want to ask Joe about how RSVP is funded, Joe, and what the changes
Well-
going on in Washington might mean for the future.
For 20 years, we've been receiving a grant from Uncle Sam,
Okay.
and we supplemented it. It isn't entirely, but it's hopefully it's here to stay. But it would be a hardship if we didn't get the grant. But
Right.
we'd hate to stop this program, and we don't have any intention of doing it now. But we hear very little.
Yeah.
Our director, John Cronin, is working with the federal people that we work with, and I know there's been some changes in the office, but it's a thing. It's almost like we don't want to ask, but I believe the yearly funding comes out in September. So
September,
as of
okay.
now. But again, we there are county funds augmenting the federal funds, but
Right.
because it was such a success. We were willing to work out. At one time, we also had, through this program, a Veterans Service officer for some of the smaller communities that didn't have one, and he retired. And I had hopes of looking at it again, and I had spoke to Lucille about in the future if we had some room to get back into servicing veterans a little bit through the VSO also, but
Uncertainty.
We'll cross that
seems-
bridge when we come to
I was
it.
going to say, yeah.
If I had known 5 or 6 months ago what's happening now, or
Yeah.
before the change of administration, I said to myself one night, gee, too bad I didn't take a chunk of opera money and put it towards this.
Oh, interesting,
But
yeah.
we didn't see it that way at
Right.
that time. And,
Yeah.
But we hope to continue it. But
Okay.
we
All right. There are no answers right now because nobody knows, right?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
it's-
And you would think something that's down the line, so to speak, would not be looked at, but I guess it will be. I don't know how the whole thing works.
Yeah.
But, we're happy to accept it, but it'd be hard, but believe me, when you see at our annual luncheon, it's in August of every year where we honor the volunteers.
Yes.
And we have them come up and tell their favorite story
Yeah.
or the people they took, carried for years and they were no longer, I mean, it's very, very heartening to go to that luncheon and see, volunteers that give them time. And they're generally, although you have to be 55 or older,
Yeah.
most of them are in their 80s.
Absolutely. Yes.
It's we do have a couple in their 50s, and
Yeah.
and it's great to see them, and we try to, but it's heartwarming. But
Yeah.
It's, what
we
they
could
always,
use more volunteers,
What-
and
For
there would be
sure.
drivers.
what they always say is volunteers get more than they give, and I'm sure you see
yeah.
that all the time at the RSVP
There's no question about it.
program.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
love it.
Hopefully, we've shined a little bit of a spotlight on the program and
Okay.
get you some new
Thank you.
volunteers.
Thanks a million.
You are welcome. Always.
Thank
a
you so
pleasure.
much, Joe. It's been a pleasure.